what we see represented on the world stage as being atypical of Jamaica comes from the people of African descent who make up the majority of the Jamaican population. So economic inclusion is very much a conversation of the day. It would be, I would say, the antithesis to poverty. If you can attain economic inclusion, you would have an answer to poverty. Big topic, and I want to continue the discussion beyond where we have taken it as we have focused on the music and culture, those aspects of our culture which have been greatly influenced by the work of the Rastafarians. All right, so we'll do a Thursday recap. In the Thursday recap, I want to zero in on what I'm calling the Ethiopian connection. That came up for heavy discussion. There was a question I posed to Prophet Greg, a question which I believe would be in the minds of many Jamaicans who hear the Rastaman saying we need to have a right and a pathway back to Africa, that we have DNA and ownership somewhere there, and we are entitled to claim it. That is the right and the condition of people who have been released from slavery. You need to be able to go back home if you so choose. So we're going to talk about the Ethiopian connection. We're also going to look specifically at some of the changes in the regulatory landscape, the framework for licensing, exploiting, trafficking in, trading, whatever activity you want to do in relation to cannabis. I would love for us to focus a little bit on that. It is one of the subjects, one of the matters celebrated in this month of April 420, the day on which all around the world persons who have a care for the liberation of the plant would do something in their various jurisdictions. And on 420, Jamaica celebrated, Jacana hosted the primary celebrations, which took place at Island Village. Yours truly was there, along with our sister Maxine, who was the keynote speaker, and she spoke on several matters that are of interest. I do hope that her statements will be taken up in the media and circulated. If not, I will do my best to repeat them here so that others can have the benefit of her contribution to the discussion. I spoke as well on the matter of freedom, a topic that is near and dear to my heart, and you will hear some more on that. In discussing the situation concerning cannabis, we're going to talk a little bit about the role of government, government as landowner, government as regulator, government as facilitator. What is the role of government in that space? Because in truth and in fact, the criminalization of cannabis took place as an activity spearheaded, monitored, preserved, extenuated, whatever word you want to use to describe government's role in it. The criminalization of cannabis was a move by our own government. And so the liberation of cannabis there's some role for them to play in that. Then I want to turn our attention to some current events which I think are, I would say, speaking volumes, crying out for attention, speaking to the condition of our nation. Once you have diagnosed the condition, then you got to think about the cure. The events that are at the top of my mind are both environmental, national disasters. We've seen flooding in Montego Bay. And may I just say that unusual weather conditions are not, Jamaica is not the only one that's experiencing unusual weather conditions. So we know environmentally things are happening on the international scale. But in Jamaica, we've had loss of life, clearly loss of property, persons severely inconvenienced in the use and enjoyment of their property as a result of certain natural events, water related events. And then we've had the man made disasters. In the paper today, there is mention of a fire that has left 20 people homeless in the West Kingston community. Other man made disasters that will come up for discussion. We've had a 2-year-old who was killed. That has dominated the pages somewhat. The sheer tragedy of it, it's just, I think, beyond comprehension. We can't look away from that one. We had a blast at the BNS ATM in on the weekend. One person injured, but significant property damage. That we need to talk about what it means. Is it, if a trend is emerging, what is the trend and what would be the corrective measure that we need to take? So matters of that nation, of that nature will occupy our attention because I believe they're of national significance and there is a response that we need to make to it as a nation, as people of faith, and as people who want to see better emerge for our communities. So that's what we're going to be talking about this morning. And when it is time for you to speak with me, I'm inviting you to focus your mind on those issues because we've got to join hearts and hands to address them. Is it time for a break? I thought I saw the engineer give me a look. Okay, we have 2 minutes. All right. Naturally, there is some scripture that is going to come up for discussion. And I'm going to approach the scriptural foundation of the discussion from two perspectives. One, of course, I'm going to find a parallel, a pattern, and have some suggestions for your consideration on how we take corrective action. That's one. The second is I'm just going to go into some Asian philosophy to look at, again, how do we move at this time when we take a right measure of the condition in our nation. What would be the steps that citizens can easily understand that this is how we need to move in order to put ourselves in a better position and overcome. Just so you can warm up the spirit, I am going to be looking at the record of Joshua's experience as he took over from Moses, and they are now moving in military fashion to take occupation of the promised land. Please be reminded that when we speak about the promised land here, even though we are referring to historical details drawn from the history of the Jewish nation, the promised land is a spiritual, symbolic reference to whatever place of abundance and promise you are seeking to occupy. We draw parallels from those spiritual references. You've heard it said, and we spent some time speaking on it last week, that everything begins in the spiritual. Before you can tackle it and overcome it in the natural realm, you must address it in the spiritual realm. The spiritual realm is that invisible place where ideas are formed, where strategies are set, where things are being played out, that you can't see it with your natural eyes, but they turn out to be even more powerful than the things you can see in the natural. You may be pursuing a particular course underground in the natural world and finding it completely ineffective, although all the steps you take are the right steps, but you're not getting the desired result. When you see that happening, you must know that there is a padlock on something in the spiritual realm. Somebody else is being very active in the spiritual realm, and it is interfering with your success here. And we're really not talking about ghosts or obia or anything all too mystical. We know that we coexist in this physical realm, and persons are sometimes working against the plans and the objectives of others. All right, it is truly time to take our first break. It's 6:31 a.m. Thank you for being with us. This is the Morning Connection. We will be right back.
Best FM 100 on your dial. Keep listening.
Vijam Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Haggard Park Road. Vijam Printers, your best choice in printing.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-time taxi service is more than just a ride to the other side of town.
Taxi service.
They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
Need a cab from anywhere at all. You can call us at 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A. Authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B. Better service including free island-wide delivery. C. All major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Good morning and welcome back. I have laid out the many issues which are front of the brain this morning and which I would like to discuss with you. But during the break, my attention got drawn to a contribution made by Mr. Ronald Thwaites, actually Reverend Ronald G. Thwaites, who has written an article in today's edition of the Daily Gleaner. It is entitled, "What Parliament Good For?" It is a question, he says, that was posed by a handcart man who was working his way up Duke Street one day. And it is a fitting question that every citizen has at some time or other asked, and an answer is being posed in this very striking article by Mr. Thwaites. Mr. Thwaites is not, I would say, he's not a favorite of mine because having served for such a long time in the House of Parliament and served as an MP, I just get very impatient when persons who had every opportunity to make a sterling contribution ask certain questions while they are in opposition, or when they are no longer in government, they begin to ask questions when they know full well the pressures and their own shortcomings whilst they had their turn at bat. So I tend to stay away from those. But this morning, I can tell you, he has captured my attention with some very thought-provoking questions that he has posed. So here it is. He is seeking to answer the question of an ordinary member of the public, someone just like you and me, who is saying, well, what are we really getting from Parliament? Let me see what I should share with you. He started by looking at the PAAC, Public Administration and Appropriations Committee's failure to have a quorum last week so they could meet. And as he puts it, they could not pull together a quorum of 3 members. And he says that that is nothing new. So this committee, which many times some of the most